Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. We are launching season 37 today. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I get to do this and that I have been doing this for so long. It's like, what a blessing it is for me and what a gift it is for me to be able to offer this platform to my community, to all of my guest speakers who are sharing their wisdom and teachings, etc., so that we can all thrive. Um, yeah, it just, at the beginning of every season, I'm always like surprised that we're still here, we're still doing this, and it's like it's still so much fun. I enjoy these shows so much, so much, so much. So again, thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are here live, and for those of you who are going to watch or listen later, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring these shows to you, bring these speakers to you so they can share their wisdoms, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, their healings, their clearings, their mini readings, etc., so that we can all thrive, so that we can all awaken to happiness now, and so that we can all begin to transform our lives in a way that we desire, right? And truly live the life that we are meant to, in abundance, in happiness, and in joy and peace, etc. So I'm so grateful for all of you being here. And today, my dear friend Avalina Maline is here with us. She is starting off the season with me, and I'm so grateful that she's here. We're going to be talking about Kundalini Awakening, activating, nurturing, and sustaining the divine flow within. And so some of what we're going to talk about today is the rise of Kundalini, how it's regulated by the central nervous system, which is essential for sustaining high consciousness and achieving enlightenment, how traumas block the central nervous system, and how clearing it allows us to stay present in the moment. We're going to learn emotional mastery, and you'll unlock the full potential of your Kundalini energy. We're also going to be talking about how to stabilize Kundalini energy to find permanent residence in the crown chakra, transforming the entire nervous system to a higher frequency that is finally capable of sustaining bliss, consciousness, unconditional love in all situations, and the awareness of oneness and existing as a higher dimensional being. We're also going to be experiencing the power of a breathwork transmission with a central nervous system upgrade activation. So this potent live breathwork experience that we're going to be experiencing today, paired with an immersive clearing transmission to release blockages that are held in the nervous system. And we're going to be bringing in Avalina and her guides and team. She's going to be bringing in new alignment with our higher selves, creating space for healing and transformation. So please do stay to the end so that you can receive this and experience this as well. And for those of you who may not know Avalina, like I said, this is the first time that she is here with us on our show. But Avalina offers support for the awakening process by sharing her gifts as an intuitive channel, an awakened multidimensional consciousness, and through her understanding of quantum energy to accelerate and harmonize awakening, embodiment, and the transformation of consciousness. She had a powerful Kundalini awakening in 2010 and began to recognize her sense of I am, shifting from her limited human perspective to her soul consciousness. She has since passionately continued her evolution, guiding individuals and groups through stages of awakening, integration, and self-realization. So if you are still here with me, and if you're watching on YouTube later, please do subscribe so that you can take advantage of all the current shows, all the previous shows, all the shows coming up. I think there's over 500 videos there now, so much wisdom. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Avalina to the show. Avalina, welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for the beautiful introduction.
I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so excited about the conversation, but also the process that we're going to be experiencing today. So it's all new. I don't think we've ever done that on the show before, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, breathwork is super powerful, a powerful tool, and it's easy because we all have it, right? It's always there for us.
Absolutely. So because your first time here with us, Avalina, can you just share a little bit with us about your journey and
hmm
about your, the breath work that you do
hmm
and the transmissions that you do, just a little bit before we get started?
Yeah, I I started actually when I first had my awakening through toning. and I was doing toning with breath, and I had a spontaneous awakening that was pretty intense for a good month or so of heavy detoxing and mystical experiences that I was having. Um, and since then, just working on my daily practice and facilitating new tools for myself and working on my emotions, clearing the emotional body, which is one of the pillars of your spiritual journey is really mastering that, because otherwise it's going to come back to bite you somewhere along the way. Um, but yeah, through a lot of toning and sound and breath work. And it's funny because I kept coming back to breath, everything that I was would embark on, it always ended up coming back to breath. And I think I was saying this the other day, I never really considered myself to be a breath work practitioner. I always thought of it as like, oh, I'm just going to do some pranayama. But when I look back at my journey, I was like, wow, like everything was about the breath. Everything that when I experienced huge shifts were when I was working heavy with breath. So I do a lot of that now, and I do a lot of toning, and it's just evolved over the years. I mean, I've been doing this for many, many years, I guess about 15 years now. So, yeah, and the more I do, the more I learn, and the more it evolves. So it's really just an ongoing process that's never gets dull, right? It's exciting, and it's always growing and shifting and changing. So there's never a dull moment.
That is for sure. There's never a dull moment. Absolutely. And you're right. The emotional body, and clearing the emotional body, bringing it to balance is like you said, it's
Hmm.
key in our spiritual evolution or our expansion of consciousness, right? I totally agree. And when it comes to breath work, I also, always just thought of it as pranayam and different forms of breathing exercises like that, but there's much more to breath work than that, for sure, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I want to get started with this conversation of the Kundalini Awakening. And I know in this, in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual community, um, there's some misconceptions around the Kundalini Awakening. And um, so yes, sometimes it can be dangerous if you're not doing it properly, and if you're etc. There are some dangers to activating it in the wrong way or by force, etc. But when it happens spontaneously on its own, because you're doing things like breath work or yoga or meditation or things like that, it's not as scary. But that does not mean it's not uncomfortable. So Kundalini Awakening is never comfortable. But it's you do get to adapt to it. You do get to flow with it, right?
Yeah, it's when we pull back and look at the big picture, our higher self never really gives us anything that we're not ready for. But if we haven't cleared ourselves and have the proper tools, then it's going to be more challenging, right? So if we think of our spiritual ascension, right? It's really a simultaneous increase of consciousness and a sort of a descension or ascension of our higher self, right, into our physical bodies. So there's this marriage of spirit happening here. So, and this happens through progressive Kundalini awakening, at the base of the spine. It moves up our spinal column, right, um, the tailbone all the way to the crown, right? And this ultimately sort of changes our focus of consciousness, right? And all of this is regulated by our nervous system. So the rise in Kundalini happens by stimulating a higher prana, or you could say chi, or light, electricity, volts, right? They're all really describing the same thing, through the nervous system. And we can harmonize it through, advanced yoga practices. And this is where breath work comes in to be a great facilitator of that. So the more we can understand how our light body works, the deeper we can understand how we exist, who we're choosing to be in the moment, and how and why, right? So there's this whole neurological transformation that happens as the Kundalini arises, which is really, it's really the same thing as sexual energy, right? It's the most powerful, potent energy that exists. And a Kundalini awakening causes it's literally our sexual energy, gradually moving up the spine through the spinal fluid, all the way up to the crown, where then it's used to further expand the nervous system. So over time, all that spinal fluid starts to, drip down the throat, and which is called a nectar. And then it goes into the gut, the GI tract, for further transformation of the nervous system. So we can work with it to expedite the process, with practices such as breath and circulating the breath. But as you said, we want to do it at a pace that is comfortable to us, because everyone's going to be at a different point. Everyone's journey may be ultimately really fast, and other persons are going to be really slow. And it's all how it was designed, how you came in with your blueprint, and it was all chosen how you wanted this process to unfold for you. So it's a really intricate process that can be explored in a lot of detail. But essentially, there's these Trinity waves. There's like 3 Trinity waves that move up the spine. And when all these are activated in the light body, the higher spiritual initiation actually begins at that point. So the Kundalini is really like the beginning of the bigger picture. And so when that once that happens, we start to activate that the inner spark of like the plasma light, right? The plasma light of the Christ consciousness. And so when these Trinity waves are activated in our light body, our vertical column, that Sushumna, becomes expanded. It widens the central column, and it becomes the structure that holds the plasma light, and you become a pillar of Christ light. So, it's not comfortable at all times. And if you haven't cleared out, your pain body, for example, you haven't cleared out the programmed beliefs, the implants, etc., out from your unconscious mind, all the way down to the root, with the victimizer programs, the fear layers, it makes it very challenging, right, for anyone. And they also get even amplified when you're going through this process, because they're coming up to be cleared. So many people don't understand the ascension process and don't have the tools to sort of neutralize the fears, right? So it can be challenging, which is actually what we're seeing in the collective right now, right? As a whole, we're seeing this process happen, unfolding. So we're all our individual journey and our collective, and it's very intense. And yeah, it's having the tools. It makes it a much more easeful journey, with grace and ease, if we know how to move through it.
Absolutely. And we all have so many tools, but we don't always remember to use them. And when it comes to traumas that are, in our field, in our pain body, in our emotional body, in our mental body, but all the traumas that we've experienced in this lifetime, but also traumas that we've experienced in past lives, etc., they can all block the central nervous system, right? And from functioning at its peak, right? At its potential. And I think all these trauma experiences that we've had that we haven't quite healed yet, or resolved and dissolved yet, they also prevent us from moving forward on our journey, on our path, and in our ascension process as well, right?
Yeah. And some of the traumas aren't even ours, right? Some of them are ancestral, and they're just carried over through our DNA. But yeah, traumas are, we all have an idea of what traumas are, and they're basically the shutting down of an ongoing experience, particularly of the feeling dimension of an experience. And there's that residue, right, that of unprocessed feelings that are generated at a time, but blocked and sort of held in limbo. And these come to the surface in current situations, making it really hard to separate past from present, right? And to keep ourselves from feeling them, we really restrict our general ability to feel. We mute our feeling experience of the world. So you end up feeling less, right? And so that's kind of where we are. Like we're unaware. We're unaware of our capabilities of feeling into things, you know. And so you feel less on an ongoing basis. Then in this way, your emotional trauma is kind of disrupting your feeling process, right, of moving forward. So it's actually locked in not only in your neurons but in your muscles, right? And it's taking up space. It takes up energy. It takes energy to keep them submerged. So we're actually using our own energy against ourselves. So as you unlock the densities and blocks that are there, you get that opportunity to complete the process, the experimental process, right? So breath work allows us to, breath work will thrust you into the present moment, right? It thrusts you into the quantum field, and it allows you the ability to meet those blocks, because they're literally blocks in your nervous system that prevent energy from flowing through it, right? So the experiences are buried in our unconscious and our subconscious, and it's our nervous system is depleted because of that. The average nervous system is very, very depleted. And we each have like our own level of energy, our own, energy reserve, you could say, or capital, like the capital of our nerves, right? So, and we use that every day, and we can increase that capacity and sort of deprogram the nervous system. And that's where like meditation comes in, and specific kinds of meditations, right? Because there's lots of different meditations, but breathing exercises and even physical exercises, even the right nutrition is important, rest and so forth. So being in nature, right? So we have to focus on replenishing our nervous system so we can handle the bandwidth, right? So yeah, so the biggest challenge comes really from traumas, because they're some of them can go so deep, right? That actually shape our personality and all kinds of patterns that you don't realize that they're there. You know that they're repeating and they're repeating. Even if you're not aware of any childhood, and you say, oh, my childhood and my teenage years were fine, right? I had a beautiful childhood, but as you start to grow into adulthood, you will certainly see things that are limiting you, right? And certain things and patterns that are acting out that you can trace back. So, I mean, even micro traumas, the smallest thing can affect the nervous system. And if it's weak, it doesn't know how to handle it. It doesn't know how to deal with a situation. And then what it does is it blocks itself to further prevent even more damage. So it's self-regulating in a healthy way, but the nervous system can regulate itself really, really well, right? So I mean, even if um, you're in a public space and you're trying to find some quiet time and it's very noisy, or you want to meditate, and you bring the average person there and ask them to experience peace, they're going to say, well, that's impossible, right? Because their nervous system is going to get triggered so much. So as it opens, the nervous system opens and increases and relaxes. It increases its voltage. It increases the capacity to hold a high vibration, right? And then it's less and less, you get less and less triggered, right? And the energy is just able to flow through you. Yeah, so it's a very intelligent system, and especially if you know how to work with it. And this it's key really to sustaining enlightenment and full consciousness. So it's something we can work with and make our practice and our journey much more easy, especially when we understand the dynamics and the science behind what is actually happening. And it's less likely where we're going to fall into a victim and, the stories and so forth, when we have a mental understanding of what's taking place.
Awesome, thank you. And I am one of those types of people who likes to understand how the body is functioning, how the mind is working, how these beliefs and patterns and traumas could be affecting us, right? And so this is I'm really enjoying this conversation. It's fascinating. And of course,
Yeah.
emotional mastery is also like so important because we lose a lot of our power, our energy, our presence due to the reactions of our emotions, right? But
Mm.
when we are able to master our emotions, basically we master our life, right? And so can you talk a little bit about emotional mastery and how that can help us to unlock the full potential of our Kundalini energy?
Hmm. Yeah, I love this. This is one of my favorites because to me, I see it so it's so loud, like the voice of the is so loud. Um, so if we can look at the perspective of what our emotions are, that and first of all, there's a huge difference between feeling and an emotion, and a lot of people get confused on that, right? So feeling is a sensory experience, right? We feel things, we feel the heat, we feel the sun on our face, we feel touch and so forth. An emotion is literally our body's. It's a reaction to a feeling state that was created by our mind. So your emotions are signaling to whether your thinking is correct or incorrect from the highest perspective. It's literally a messenger. So it's if we understand our light body and we see our physical body and all the energetic fields of it, and they get subtler and subtler, right? We have our physical body, our etheric body, the emotional, mental, astral, celestial, I mean, all of them, right? So the emotional body is that bridge between the physical body and the mental body. So it's the bridge between our physical self and our thinking self. So it represents our relationships to all things, right? So it's a translator, right, between the mental and the physical body. So it interprets our thoughts into feelings. It's actually this translation that allows us to have an experience of a thought. It actualizes a thought instead of remaining abstract. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to have this human experience, right? We wouldn't be able to have, we create through our thoughts, right? So we do that by feeling the thought, and that's the fuel for the creation, right? We all learn this in manifesting and so forth. So because we can feel our thoughts, we have to be very careful about what we're thinking, right? So an emotion is our reaction to our body's reaction to our mind, right? So our emotions are never speaking to our circumstances. They're not telling us what to do. They're always speaking to how we are defining ourselves, right? Our emotions are only speaking to whether or not our perspective is in alignment with source's perspective, right? Because we know our emotions are a reflection of our thoughts. Your emotions are never speaking to your situation. They're always speaking to how you are defining yourself, your self-talk, right? So whenever you see yourself in a way that the universe sees itself, you feel good, right? You feel joyful because that's the way source feels about itself. And everyone's an extension of source. So when you see yourself in a way that is the opposite of that, then you feel bad, right? Because this is your higher self's way of letting you know that you have adopted a point of view that does not compute from higher consciousness. So you're out of alignment, which we feel is suffering. So because of this, our emotions are literally signaling you whether your thinking is correct or incorrect from the higher perspective. So we can use this as a tool, right? We can use this as a tool for awakening. Once this is emotional mastery, when we understand where our emotions are coming from. They're really just signaling to you how off track you are in your thinking and perceiving. Your emotions don't lead you astray. Your emotions are telling you when you're already astray, because by the time you feel bad, you're off track, right? What actually leads you astray are the thoughts that you're buying into, right? Are you buying into what the mind is selling? Right? A bad feeling becomes worse when that happens. So it creates an emotional feedback loop. And when we start to get caught in that loop, the feelings start to reinforce themselves, and we can easily fall into a downward spiral, right? So, and then we create a belief, and then that belief becomes part of our identity, right? So this is where when we can use our emotions as our guidance system, right? And start to work our way out of these attachments and identities, because your emotions are laser-like in accuracy, and they're telling you how accurate you are with every thought. And we do this simply by distilling every thought down to how it makes us feel and trusting in your feeling. And because your feeling is always true, thinking thoughts that are a vibrational match to your higher self feel emotionally good to think. And emotions are translating, informing you of at every moment of the day where you are, where you stand energetically in relationship to your higher self. So self-talk is the number one thing that brings us down into a negative spiral. So watching where your energy goes, and then it just becomes a practice. We express that muscle, right? And then it becomes easier and easier and louder, and it gets clearer and clearer and easier. So you just start embracing every emotion as a messenger, right? It's there to tell you something. And then it becomes easy, and it becomes more fun. It's not you. We don't have to identify with the emotion. It's part of the physical experience, and we can witness it and go, oh, I'm thinking this, and that is not thoughts that my higher self would be. That's not who I truly am. And then we can shift out of those and move through those pockets that are held in our bodies so much easier. When we really understand the science behind it, it's much more practical, right? It's not some mystical thing that's so hard to do. It actually becomes quite easy.
Yeah, I
Well,
love
I
that.
won't say easier, but
Yeah.
easier.
Easier. Yeah, no, I love that. And it is so true. Sometimes when we feel an emotion that is, not ideal, we go deeper into it, and we go into the story, and then we judge
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. We get, in this loop, and then it's like, but I love what you said, that when you are having those emotions that are not ideal, it basically means you're not in alignment with how your higher self sees you. So you've identified with something, a pattern, a thought,
Mm-hmm.
something that is not in alignment with your higher self. And so that once you recognize that, then you can very easily change it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. Now let's talk a little bit about stabilizing the Kundalini energy so that it can find a permanent home in the crown chakra. I mean, of course, I know about this. I know about yoga. I know about Shiv, Shakti, all that stuff, and how the Kundalini rises and all that stuff. But putting it into this perspective of, you know, what actually happens scientifically, or what happens,
Mm-hmm.
um, without the woo-woo and without the religious connotations and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about
Yeah.
that for a bit.
Yeah. If we dive into like the scientific side of it, you could actually say, if in a if a nervous system if you have a fully functioning nervous system, you would experience your current feeling perception completely in the present moment, right? And that feeling would fade away as soon as you move into the next present moment. But most of us have a hard time staying present, right? So it's difficult, right, to reach adulthood with in our society with a fully functioning nervous system, even the best of circumstances, right? So when we start to raise our consciousness to a certain point, we're becoming aware of oneness, we're living from a space of love, unity towards everything. It puts a demand on our nervous system, right? And a demand for our nervous system to upgrade, because our nervous system is that interface between consciousness and the divine, right? It's like the mirror. It's like the mirror that consciousness shines itself into, and the reflection is the human being experience I'm having. So the same way emotions are the bridge between our physical and um, our mental body, the nervous system is like the interface between consciousness and the divine, right? So it's the bridge of the physical body to the higher levels of consciousness and spiritual realms. So to allow that that the energy that comes in, it's so what is that, right? Is the energy that comes in, that Kundalini energy, the energy that flows through our nervous system, it's light, right? And if you think about light, light is information, right? It's wisdom, it's geometry, it's electricity, it's running through our system, right? We even use the term, oh, that person's really bright, right? Because they're holding a lot of light, and light is wisdom. So when this starts to happen through us, when we start to embrace it, the being in the states of love and unity, it requires our nervous system to up level to handle that, right? So this is why like blissful experiences are very fleeting for the most part, right? We have little glimpses of oneness and bliss, and then it goes away, right? And we drop back down to the dense separation, right? Because bliss and love and unity are those high vibrations. So it's kind of like we max out the nervous system, right? It's kind of like an engine runs, it maxes out its RPMs and it burns out, right? And we have to go back down, and the nervous system can't handle it. So with a third density nervous system, these spiritual highs are very fleeting because we don't have the bandwidth, right? And so the purification and the opening of the nervous system is what allows us to sustain oneness and bliss and love, to handle that type of frequency, because love is a very high frequency, and we have to get rid of the lower ones throughout our nervous system to hold that, right? So the nervous system is about it's the regulator, it's the stabilizer, it's what helps us integrate an experience, and it plays that role of bringing those vibrations into the body, right? And so this is again where breath work comes in, because we're pushing that energy into the cells when we're doing breath work. So to sustain it, we have to allow our experiences in the moment to flow through us. And how we do that is letting everything be that catalyst, right? Letting everything be, the same way we use emotions, we allow them to be our catalyst for growth, right? And seeing that everything in the world is not happening to us, it's happening for us, right? Having an understanding of our relationship between our inner self and our outer world, right? Because if we're going to collapse duality, we're going to have to become aware of this relationship between us and the external world. And when we're looking at the world, the experiences you have, less and less like it's some separate thing that you're moving through, navigating, and more like it's the playing field for consciousness that is here to teach you something new every single moment. So when we understand this relationship between the inner and the outer, we can see that it's the relationship that's important, not the actual circumstances and situations. It's how we relate to those things, because that nothing is actually separate. So we become aware of our relationship with life. We begin to collapse the duality between the inner and the outer, and that's another spiritual muscle. So we practice making use of everything in our experience to build our awareness, right? Building that habit of seeing everything as a catalyst, right? So the question becomes, are you looking for that? Are you looking for that lesson? Do you have that in spiritual intelligence to tune into life and look at the deeper layer behind why certain things are happening and what distortions within you are being brought out by you, by your life experiences to be integrated? So everything is a gift. No matter how challenging it seems, you're the creator. You're creating your life around you to help you clear what's in the inner, right? There's no separation. So the practice becomes really simple, right? When you're disturbed, right, by anything, any experience, you know your perception's off somewhere, and if you want to hear the voice of truth, then you have to align to seeing things that way, to seeing things that everything is a gift and everything is a catalyst, and then our perception will shift, right? And it's humility that brings that grace of inner knowing, and if you're willing to be corrected in your perception from your higher self will bring it. And we can move through and dissolve so many things that way when we look at our life, our reality that way, and everything around us. And then it becomes, it becomes more of a game, and it's not so heavy and like, oh, like all this stuff, and the weight of it. And we can just have more joy in it, have fun with it. And that's it. When something challenging happens, and I'm like, whoa, okay, there's something big in here for me, and I'm going to have a big shift out of this. Like something, I get to move through, because the journey never ends, right? There's no stopping point, right?
Yeah,
At least not what I see for
absolutely.
now. Yeah.
A- And when you're willing to see everything as a gift, as a blessing, as a catalyst, um, you're basically being more and more present in your day-to-day life, and in that presence, you become a true co-creator with your higher self and spirit,
Hmm.
for your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because you're the creator, and then that's when like the magic starts to happen. Like when you take responsibility, right? When you're responding to life that way, things just start to unfold, and it gets really, really interesting. And then you just surrender, and you surrender to the flow, and that's so much more exciting. When we're trying to be in control of things, how boring, right? How boring is that? When we're trying to control things, we're trying to limit things, and we're trying to keep things the way they are because it's comfortable. When you surrender and you let go and you are in the flow, that's when like things come in that you never even expected. How could they, when you're, holding yourself, in a very tight container? So yeah, it gets that's when like the fun, that's how we're meant to be, right? We're meant to live that way. We're meant to live in the state of flow, in the state of
Mhm.
surrender.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I have to say my life is never boring, never dull. There's always something happening, there's always new awarenesses coming through all the time. And again, that's if you're willing to be present, and if you're willing to be honest with yourself, right? Then
Hmm.
you will be able to get those awarenesses and receive those teachings as a blessing and a gift for yourself, and then for the collective and your community and family, right? It all ripples out.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because everything we do is impacting the whole, right? And no one's ever going to tell your higher self's not even going to tell you what to do, right? You're simply bringing your own experiences to you that you need, and you can choose to allow yourself to respond from that place of oneness or separation, right? From love or fear, and choosing love is so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Exactly. But we're not used to it, right? So we're
Yeah.
used to being in fear and in separation. We're not used to being in love and unity, etc. So it's about retraining ourselves. This
Yeah.
is also possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We get to
true. And
choose that. Yeah.
we get to choose. And you can even use breath work even in those moments, right? Throughout your day. It's like, am I experiencing fear now? Because you can watch your breath. And when you're having fear, your breath will get shallow, it'll get light, it may get more rapid, right? So when we can slow our breath down, we become way more aware in the moment, and then the fear can dissipate. So it's no accident that you hear of like people who are performers, and they'll have someone coach them, and before they get on stage and talk, they'll do breath, they'll slow their breath, right? Because you can you can back out of the fear with your breath, right? You could use the breath to back out and watch your breath, slow your breath. Even if you're having a conversation with someone, are you breathing? Like, how are you breathing? And you can feel your consciousness shift as you watch your breath.
Mhm.
It's fascinating. Simple
Absolutely.
things that we all have, right? And we've never been taught to use them.
Yeah, it's always at our disposal. Our breath is always
Mhm.
there for us.
Yeah, everything's
Absolutely.
free. Everything we need is always free, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So now I know that we are going to be taking a few caller questions, and we're also going to be doing a breathwork transmission experience as well. So what do you like? How do you want to do? How do you want to do that? Do you want to do the breathwork first? Do you want to take some questions, or I'm thinking at this point, let's go over the special offer package first, and then we'll
Okay,
do the breath work, and then we'll take some questions. How's that?
that sounds good.
Okay, so let me share my, let me get to the right page and share my screen first. Second. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. So basically, Avalina has two packages, package A and package B, and package A is a 3-week Kundalini activation transmissions of sound and light codes with breathwork integration series. So I'll let you explain that, Avalina.
Yeah, so we're going to do some long, like what we're going to experience today will be like a shorter version, and it'll be a different breath because it's going to be a short experience. But in these experiences, we'll be using different breaths throughout the 3 weeks. And literally, like, we'll do like some discussion first for maybe like 20 minutes or so before each gathering. And then we'll go into breath for about an hour, a long, deep breath where we're going to be purifying and purging, clearing our nervous system. And that's going to increase, as we move through the 3 weeks. So we'll start with clearing, and then we're going to really start to, bring in the energies to ignite the what's being held in the perineum and the tailbone, and lots of light codes and sounds and collectives that are going to be assisting us through the process. And we're also going to be sharing a lot of different things you can do on your own, a lot of different breaths, that you can practice on your own in addition to that. So yeah, so it'll be about 75 minutes, maybe a little bit more each week of a progressive facilitation of energy to help you release and what's the blocks, and to calm the nervous system, prepare the nervous system, and prepare for these trinity waves of the Kundalini to start to move up the spine.
And we don't need prior experience, right? We don't need to be an
No.
expert in yoga or breathing or anything like that.
None
No.
whatsoever.
Awesome. So
And there's
package
probably
A,
no such thing as an expert anyway, so.
true. So package A is $97, 3 weeks, and it's going to begin on February the 12th. So February 12th for 3 weeks on Zoom. And of course, there's a payment plan available. And if you are an Inner Circle member, please use your gift code. And then package B includes everything in package A, plus a 45-minute personal session with Avalina. So what does that look like with the personal session with you?
Mm-hmm. The personal sessions are what I find to be very, very powerful, because I can tap into your guides, your team, and whatever is on the surface for you to integrate, or it may not always be what you think it is, but what will arise through the session is what is the most what is in the highest and best for you to integrate at that time. And so I channel a lot of this information from your higher self and your team And I'll also do clearing, a personal clearing on your field. And a lot of that is, toning, sound, some light language. But you gain a lot of clarity about where you are right now, what you're moving through, and also get a physical, like energetic clearing of what's being held in your field, and a lot of letting go of that during the session.
Awesome. And that also is on Zoom, right?
Yeah, it'll be a Zoom, like a live one-on-one call that we'll schedule together.
Awesome. So package B is 197 and a payment plan is available. There's some wonderful testimonials and feedback from clients who have worked with Avalina. You may see some, well, I see one. Rianya has worked with with Avalina as well. So there's some wonderful testimonials here for you to take a look at, as well as Emily has. So just check those out. There's a much fuller bio here for Avalina as well on the page, so you can read that as well. Again, there's two packages, A and B, payment plans available for both. And of course, if you are an Inner Circle member, please do use your gift code. It's awesome. Thank you so much, Avalina. I think it's going to be a wonderful, transformative experience. That the 3-week series, I think it's going to be really, it's going to change people's consciousness for sure.
Yeah, we're actually stimulating the nervous system, right? And many Hindu texts talk about the neurological condition of enlightenment. So yeah, it's a powerful way to move through blocks and distortions in our field, right? Through breath, right?
Yeah.
We're pushing positively charged energy into those neurons to create that that depolarization, right? So it's if you've never experienced breath work, you'll quickly find how powerful it is, and you'll want to keep doing it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we do have some questions in the chat, and we are going to be taking some live caller questions after we do the breath work. If you still think that's a good idea to take questions after the breath work, right?
Sure. Yeah. I
Okay.
think
So let's get ready to do this breath work transmission. What do we need to do?
well, you want to get comfortable. Find a seat. You may want to have a glass of water nearby, because you may find yourself getting really thirsty. Yeah, so just get comfortable, and we're going to do it like I said, a short breath. So it's going to be more of an intense breath, a rapid breath, not quite like the breath of fire, but more of a medium. And what we're doing is we're changing the balance of the carbon and the oxygen in the body, and that carbon starts to build up, and it creates sort of somewhat of an altered state of consciousness, and you can do a lot of inner healing when we're in those states. So it's a powerful way to move energy in the nervous system. So have a glass of water, close your eyes. You can lay down or you can sit down. If you want to turn your video off, you may want to do that. Or whatever you prefer, whatever you're comfortable with. Often or not, you may find that if you're not used to doing breath, if you lie down, you may have a tendency to fall asleep. So if you're new to breath, you may want to sit up. Yeah. So, and you may experience some tingling in your extremities, some tetany, right? That's completely normal. Tingling in your legs, and we're going to be using a mantra, right, with this breath today. So you want your attention to be on your breath and your mantra, and you want to keep your attention and your awareness on the breath at every moment, which is going to keep us very present, right? An unwavering attention to the intention of focusing on the breath and the mantra until we become the breath, right? So the mantra is, I am here now. And we want to sync that mantra with the breath. So we're going to inhale at this somewhat of a pace like this. It's all going to be through the mouth, and I'm not sure if you can hear that. Let me just turn the original sound on so you can hear. Okay, that's on. So the breath is going to be, it's all through the mouth. And on your inhale, you're going to say the word I, exhale, am. Inhale, here, exhale, exhale, now. Right? So you're syncing the rhythm of the mantra with the breath, right? And you're focusing on your third eye. So about an inch above your eyes and about an inch back in, right? So gaze is on the third eye. So is everyone okay with understanding the breath? Okay, so just you'll find a pace and just stick with the mantra and the focus of the breath. So start bringing in the breath now, bringing in the mantra, relaxing your body. As you're breathing, you're relaxing, letting go of all the tension, dropping your shoulders. Keeping the breath powerful and very robust, right? We don't want a faint breath, right? We want a very robust, deep breath. So you're bringing in the breath into every single cell of the body. And really giving yourself permission to be here in your body. Remembering that wherever you are is your home. Wherever you are is your home. Allowing this body to be your home. Letting go with each and every breath. Letting go of all worries, of all thoughts. Letting go of my external reality. Letting go of what's occurred today. Letting go of the conversation, our to-do list. Needing to know, needing to understand, needing to control. Letting go of the stories, letting it all go. I release, I let go. I release, I let go. Keeping the breath deep, breathing all the way down into your belly, into the sides, the front, the back. Keeping your awareness in the third eye. Keeping your full attention on your breath and the mantra. There is nothing else in this moment other than you and the breath. Going deeper and deeper and deeper with each and every breath till you become the breath. I am the breath. Each and every breath I take, I ignite the infinite creator that I am. I release, I melt away. I transmute all the layers of suffering, illusion, fear, pain, unworthiness, victimhood, not enough. I let it all go. I let it go. I transmute, I melt, I let it go. Keeping the breath very deep, breathing into the back, the sides of the belly, opening the breath up wide, opening it up deep within ourselves so we can melt and expand and we become one with the breath. There is nothing else outside of me and this breath. We become one as the unified field of earth, of air, fire, and water, plasma, the ether. We ignite our highest alchemical potential in this moment, flowing down and all around. We receive, we invite these potent streams of pure source creator diamond light, pristine plasma frequencies of pure original sound codes, source codes, flowing in abundantly all around us, clearing, cleansing, igniting. down and opening, clearing. We allow ourselves to receive. Where have we allowed ourselves to doubt our own purity, the purity of our intention, the purity of our heart, letting go? Where have we given our power away, our sovereignty away, unprocessed projections, letting go with compassion, with grace, with unconditional love, seeing the divine beauty and grace in all expressions, in all beings, seeing the divine beauty and grace within ourselves, allowing the breath to open and expand, keeping the breath robust. I am here now. I am here in my body now. I give myself permission to be here in my body. We allow ourselves to expand in those places of contraction, of fear, of darkness held within, fear of opening, embracing and activating the light, going into those spaces and places within, places we previously judged as unworthy, as not being enough. We let it go. We let it all go, feeling the grace and the space of the frequencies of the diamond light coming down and forth. There's no fractal of our consciousness that is unworthy of unconditional love, of embrace and compassion, bringing them back into the flow of this pure source diamond light, letting go of the imprints of polarity, duality, negative energy, and bringing ourselves back into full, abundant grace. That which we have been and always have been, pure source potential, pure source light, keeping our attention on the breath and the flow of the mantra, I am here now. I receive, I let go, I give myself permission to be my fullest expression in this form, in this human form. I love my human form. I am here now, feeling the heart center opening, expanding, letting go of the fight or flight, letting go of the distortions that hold us in separation, breaking free from self-sacrifice, self-sabotage, self-enslavement, and opening back into unwavering faith and trust and surrender and awareness. Pure plasma crystalline light flowing down, dropping into our cellular DNA, igniting, reuniting, resurrecting our Christos bodies within, resurrecting the sound and light frequencies that bring us into the highest embodiment, the highest activation of our own unique source of light and sound, feeling, receiving, allowing this divine shower of pure crystalline light, igniting every breath we take. With every breath we dissolve further and further. We dissolve further layers of illusions, of egoic construct, igniting the dormant DNA, staying with the breath, allowing the breath to become the energy of movement, allowing the breath to move the stagnant energy, the resistance of the breath. I allow the breath to transmute these layers of perceived blocks, of letting our thinking mind step aside, expressing our heart centers, this radiant center of pure infinite wisdom, taking the breath, taking it deeper and deeper and deeper. melting away the confusion, seeing and feeling, igniting the life force energy, pouring into our external systems as we come back. As we come back into our bodies, we feel the clarity, we feel the connection, allowing these diamond plasma light to flow through and ignite and further activate our divine heart center. Layers and layers, melting and melting, the diamond light coming down and through our central channel, pulling within our third eye, opening the cave of Brahman into its highest expression, breathing into our third eye, witnessing and seeing the resurrection of our highest expression of our technology there, melting away the frequencies of disruption and distortion that have been embedded in our DNA, melting away the calcification, the stagnation, coming into expansiveness, coming into our infinite nature, letting it go, letting go of the tension, the fear. Where is there tension in my body in this moment as I'm breathing? Are my legs tensing? Can I relax them? Can I let the energy flow freely? I relax even deeper. I relax even deeper. Allowing this diamond light to melt away all the consciousness densities, all the technologies, implants, letting them go. I command the full dissolve of any and all contracts, agreements, consciously and unconsciously, that I've participated in throughout all time, space, dimensions, and realities that are not aligned with my highest good. Feeling the divine plasma source light flowing through our spinal column, back, the back of our heads, back down through our spinal column, resurrecting our DNA and the water within our cells. Feeling the nourishment, the strength opening up. We feel a sense of complete and full peace and calm flowing through every single thread, every filament of light within our nervous system. Flowing down, letting go. Feeling the resurrection of the highest expression of our crystalline perfection within our nervous system. Flowing through our vagus nerve, moving through the entire system, opening, bringing forth peace, joy, lightness, calmness, allowing for us to expand into the highest expression of freedom, of sovereignty, allowing, staying with the breath. I am here now. I am here now. I am immaculate peace. I am immaculate peace. I am immaculate peace. Feeling a full dissolve as we go into the depths of our inner cellular walls, all the structure. We allow ourselves to feel the peace within all of our cells. We let go of all the tension. We begin to feel the clarity, the joy, the trust, the sovereignty. We remember. We feel it, we are it, we trust it, we breathe it. We remember. We remember who we are. We remember. We remember. We remember. Bringing your breath back now to a regular breath. Bringing your breath back to a regular breath. Back to a soft and nourishing inhale and exhale. We allow ourselves to integrate and receive, to further ignite the integration for the highest expression of our nervous system. Allowing ourselves to ground here as we breathe naturally. Take our awareness down to the soles of our feet. Breathing into our feet. Taking the breath and our awareness down through the center, all the way to the center of Gaia. Breathing down our central channel to the center of Gaia. Allowing ourselves to ground there. Allowing ourselves to be held by Gaia. Breathing back up our channel, back up into our feet, back up into our core, back into our central channel, back into our heart. So it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And taking your time, coming back when you feel ready. Bringing your attention back to your surroundings, feeling your feet on the floor, and opening your eyes when you feel ready.
Wow, that was powerful. That was definitely, so much was happening within me. So drink some water, everyone. Definitely. Let us know how you're doing. I know for myself, I have to admit, Avalina, it was hard for me to focus on the breathing and the mantra and the third eye at the same time. But I did most of it. But I found I was after a while I was yawning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so there was a lot of yawning happening, and I found my body wanted to like move a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I let it. So it was, yeah, very, very powerful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Some wonderful people. Other people are also saying same thing. Very nice. Thank you. That was wonderful. Very powerful. But yeah, definitely drink some water, because you're right. I had to drink water
Yeah.
throughout. Right. So that water was definitely needed.
Yeah, you get used to that after a while of not needing to stop and have water. But yeah, and getting tired is very common. There's a huge influx of energy, and our nervous system wants to sort of check out. And falling asleep is the easiest way to do that. And sometimes it's
Yes.
purposeful. Sometimes we need to do that, and it's okay. It's completely okay.
And I also found at one point I noticed that, because my neck has been sore for a while, but it's getting better and better. But I noticed halfway through that my neck, I couldn't even feel any aches and pains or whatever in my neck at all. So a lot, like I said, a lot was happening. All right, so we did say we were going to take a few quick questions. So quick and a few. So if you want to raise your hand, you can. And there were some questions in the chat really quickly. I just want to, I hope I find your question, Karen, because I did like it. Oh, there we go. So Karen had put a question in the chat about, she said that she struggles with emotions of sadness watching suffering animals, people. Are we trying to not react to things like that?
It's not so much about the reaction. It's watching how you're perceiving that, right? How you're perceiving the experience of others, for example. So if we want to go and pull out to the highest perspective of what's occurring, we know that everyone's choosing, right? Everyone's choosing to navigate their journey. And if even if we look at death, for example, although it may be challenging to see and witness, everybody's higher self knows exactly what's that in the best interest of that person. So who are we to judge, right? And and claim it inwards and to cause ourselves suffering, because that's not helpful for anyone. And it's also, that what that person's going through is what's needed for that person. Even though it may be challenging, we have to allow that experience to happen for everyone, because who are we to say that that experience is not what their higher self or what that person is manifesting to create their own spark of awakening, right?
Yeah, as much as we don't like it,
Yeah.
but sometimes that is what's required. And because remember, we're not all at the same level of consciousness, right? Like, we're on different grades. I don't know, levels. I don't even like that word, but we're not the same. And the animals who are suffering, we definitely, I cannot see animals or people, for that matter, suffering at all. It breaks my heart. And so that is something that is challenging for me too, Karen. It's like, especially when it's something that people do to animals, and animals are like, it's like, oh my God, why? But I think at a higher level, for me, I think that the animals have chosen to come in and have that experience for the benefit of humanity, so that humanity will wake up quicker and faster. But that's just how I can wrap my head around it.
Yeah, you'll even see in wild animals, everything's an agreement, right? There's an agreement of the animal's soul path, and even I saw a documentary once where there was a pack of wolves, and they were hunting. It might not have been wolves, but it was somewhere. It may have been in like Africa or somewhere, but they hunted and they caught their prey, and the alpha of the pack came in and they let it go because it wasn't the right one. They had caught the wrong one. So the one who had agreed to be sacrificed for the pack, there was a contract there. So they let the one go because they had caught the wrong one. So it's just an example of, everything on the higher levels is happening in divine perfection. It's divine perfection, and so it's hard for us to see that from where we are. But holding that awareness is going to help you, get neutral, really.
Yeah. And so for things like that, I just send out compassion, unconditional love, and blessings. Because that is how humanity, the collective, is going to change their awarenesses, and they're going to change their beliefs and patterns if instead of judgment or negativity or blame or anything like that. But they require a different type of energy than what they're used to, right? So and because you can't give them the same thing that they already have, because that's not going to change anything. That's why I always like give them compassion, because they don't know. Give them unconditional love and blessings, because that's going to go to wherever it's needed the most, and then it's their job to work with it. But yeah, difficult question, Karen, and I'm totally there with you. It hurts my heart for sure. All right, so Jay and Tanya have their hands raised, so we're going to go to Jay. You want to unmute, Jay? If you're still there, if you're still awake after that process. If not, we'll go to Tanya. Tanya, go ahead. You want to unmute?
Yes. Hello. Do you see me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see you. We can hear you.
Yeah.
And see you.
Good. So I actually put my question in writing, but I will ask it because I find it difficult to focus, and only being an adult, I realize that I may have a light form of ADHD, and I kind of either when I meditate, I either fall asleep or I'm drifting away. I tried all sort of breathing too, and I found it helpful. But with me, it's very difficult to stay on one subject for a long time. I get bored and I find something else, and I can kind of keep jumping from one thing to another. And it's my also mind, you know, very kind of maybe overactive. I find myself a little bit hyper sometimes. So how do I work on it or not work on it? How do I relax into meditation, if I can say so?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, is that feedback? Okay, can you
Yeah.
guys hear me?
Yeah. Did you change that thing back? The noise, whatever?
Oh, yeah, let me try that. That's probably, okay, there we go. Yeah, so often like when we want to sit and meditate, you know, even so there's degrees of it, right? So sometimes you'll see people like they'll like make a plan to sit and meditate, and you come up with an excuse, or I'll do it later. You know, it doesn't matter how it shows up, but there's always something the nervous system wants to avoid, right? So you know, if you find people who, for example, are always got to be doing something, right? They can't sit still, right? The nervous system gets so overstimulated just sitting that it's too much, right? It's overwhelming. So what I would recommend for you is taking smaller increments, right? Because when we say, oh, I'm going to sit down and meditate, it's like, ugh, right? Like it becomes a chore, right? And it's like, oh, I don't want to do that, and then you put it off, right? So we don't want to make it that. So find moments, even if it's 5 minutes during your day, where you just stop and pause and breathe, right? And you could even practice some Vipassana meditation, where you're just sort of scanning the body and breathe. So you want to like feed it into your daily life, so it's not this overwhelming thing, right? That's no fun, right? And it'll be an easier, like you want to take some baby steps, right? Like if you try to go in and sit down in a full-on deep meditation, you're right, you're going to fall asleep because your nervous system is just going to check out. It's too much, right? So take it light, make it easy for yourself, right? Do smaller increments and do them more throughout the day. And then you can kind of, you know, morph that into whatever, when you're feeling, you know, you'll know when you sit down and you're like, wow, I'm feeling really present right now. I'm feeling really quiet. My mind feels quiet. And hallelujah, like when we start to get those moments, you're going to want more of it, and then you're going to want to do it. It's not going to be this belief that I can't do it. I can't, when this happens, I can't do this. So right now it's like there's this mental block, right? Like there's a mental block that I can't even do it. Like, so you're blocking yourself before you even get there. So I, you know, trying something like that as an approach is going to be really beneficial to help you ease into, you know.
Well, I need it because
Yeah.
my chatter box, I need to calm it down. So I do benefit from meditations and relaxations and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just, as you said, you know, I find anything to do to tell myself that I'm too busy.
Yeah. Well, try doing little snippets of it here and there, and then and when you get a feel for it and you start to taste it, then you'll find your way of how you like to do it. But small bits. Don't make it a big chore. You know, you could be in your kitchen cooking something. You're like, okay, I got to wait 5 minutes for this, so I'm going to sit here and do something. You know, watch my breath for 5 minutes. Keep it easy and simple. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. And there was a question from, I just saw it. Oh my goodness, I lost it. Aranima, there was a question in the chat. Where did it go? It's gone. You can't delete stuff in the chat, can you? I didn't know. But anyway, there was a question in the chat from Aranima, and now I can't find it.
No. I'm so sorry. I'm not on the video because I'm having a headache. But
I know. I read it, and I don't see that in the chat anymore. It's weird.
Well, I mean, well, I'll go ahead and say it. I deleted. apologize. I basically I've been feeling very numb in my heart and my soul, and I almost feel that was the point. I don't know what's going on, and I'm tired of feeling that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know how to handle that. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say first, let go of the judgment of it, right? It's okay, because numbness is, put there for a reason, right? We put that there for a reason. But really setting an intention for yourself to open that, and to, because we create through our intentions, right? But really sitting down, even if you have to create a ceremony around it, and it could be something simple with a little candle, writing it down, write your intentions down. Because when we set an intention, it will happen one way or another, right? So really allowing yourself to really get neutral on what it is you're actually experiencing, because there's judgment there. What I'm hearing is there's judgment there on what you're experiencing. So the numbness is almost like a bypass, like, oh well, I can't feel, but you can feel. You can, and you will, right? So given, accepting the fact that you can feel, and letting that belief go that you can't, and really setting a strong intention, you'll be surprised at what happens.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arunima.
You.
I had that happen with me for a while, where I was completely numb as well. I couldn't feel anything, but I reminded myself, even though I can't feel anything, I do feel the love for my children.
Yeah,
So I could not say I was completely numb, because yes, I do feel that.
that's
right?
true.
So sometimes, and for me, it was a heart healing, obviously. It was a lot I was going through at the time. And so it just took time, but I never bought into that belief of I can't feel,
Mhm.
because I could feel the love for my kids. I could feel the love for my parents, right? At that time.
That-
Other people I could not, but that was,
Yeah.
that's fine, right? But so
Yeah.
don't say that you are numb and you can't feel, because that's not true.
That's not true. That's right. That's right.
Right. And so sometimes you just have to remind yourself of what is, of what is true. Is that yes, I can feel. I feel the love for my children. If you have a pet or an animal, a dog, a cat, obviously you feel something for them. I mean, how can you not? Right.
That's-
So that's why it's like, so be very careful of what you say and what you're allowing your body to hear you say, because if you keep saying, I'm numb, I'm numb, I'm numb, well, the body's going to say, okay, let me help you experience that.
Mm.
Right.
Okay.
So, you want to feel but you're trying to protect yourself because you've been hurt.
Okay. I
Right.
appreciate that. Thanks for the clarification from both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And keep breathing.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. And hopefully your headache will pass soon. We'll send you blessings. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. So Caroline says, hit your fingers with a hammer. You do feel, right? So
Well, thanks, Caroline.
that is so true. All right. So I don't think Jay is there anymore. Because we did ask him to come on earlier, but I don't think he's there anymore. Maybe he fell asleep during that process that we did. All right. So any last words of wisdom for us, Avalina? I mean, definitely the whole conversation, so much wisdom and truth in there. And truth meaning like it's not just woo-woo, it's scientific facts and experiences. And there's meat there to back up what we were talking about. And also the process was definitely I think the more that you do breath work, I mean, I know that, but the more that you do breath work in an intentional way, I do think it can change how your central nervous system functions for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say what I've seen over the years, and including myself and the stages of my journey, is really just keeping things simple, because we overcomplicate things and we overcomplicate our understanding of the journey of what we need to do. And just remember that everything you need is right in front of you. Everything, whatever it is that you need to move through, is going to be right in front of you. So really honoring where you're at, not judging where you're at and what, I need to get further, because the gift is right in front of you. And when we can really, when we can accept that where I'm at on my journey, what I'm experiencing right now is perfect. It is exactly, it's the only thing I need. I don't have to go do retreats and blah, blah, I don't have to do all these things. Everything is right here. I can keep my journey simple, and I can awaken with little external things, right? Like I don't have to go outside of myself for my journey. Everything's right here. So we're really keeping it simple, and the breathwork keeps it simple. A lot of the tools that I've done, I mean, I've really kept my journey simple, and I would say scientific, because there's eventually a bridge where we think of metaphysics, and the only reason they're called metaphysics is because we don't understand them. But really, the science and spirituality are the same thing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
I
so
agree.
keeping it simple, and nothing's complicated. Only our mind makes things complicated.
That is true.
Yeah.
Caroline, did you want to say something? You want to unmute?
Hi, my beautiful. I just wanted to say to the other lady, I know I made a joke about that, but it comes from the place of a pure heart. I lost
Yes.
my best friend to cancer just a few days ago, and many, many other challenges that I'm not going to explain now in the past 4 months. And sometimes it's good to just bring some laughter in and know that everything that we've gone through, we think we can't do it anymore. That's why we say to ourselves, I can't feel, I don't want to feel. So know that you can, just by I wonder what I can feel. And literally like hit your hand, and say I do feel. So you're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. Accept where you are at. Love yourself. And it comes from my heart to yours.
Thank you, Caroline. Yeah, nobody took it badly at
Yeah.
all. We all know it came from love.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful words. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jay is back. All right, Jay, you have a quick question for Avalina?
I don't know how quick, but I just wanted to find out what method one would use to heal PTSD.
Well, lots of people would use somatic healing, right? Of feeling, which is pretty much the same, I would say, as like Vipassana meditation, because PSD is it's basically a trauma, right? It's a trauma that's locked in the body. So you can scan your body, right? And if you continuously scan what am I feeling in my body without attaching a story to it, you can sort of slowly dissolve that, like a ring, a ring of awareness going up and down your channel, just scanning everything you feel in your body, and just keep moving, not holding on to any expression that's happening in any part of the body, and just keep moving up and down. You'll start to unravel the sensation that's locked in the nervous system, right? And so scanning the body, using a soft breath while you're doing that will be super powerful as a form of somatic healing for PTSD. That would be a huge benefit for you. I don't know if
How
you've
does
ever
one
tried
dissolve it?
anything like that. What was that?
How does one dissolve it once you've scanned it?
Well, it probably is not going to happen in one go. Not that it can't, but it's going to be a practice, right? It's going to be a practice of you sitting still, dropping into your heart, right? Dropping into to being neutral and just feeling all the parts of your body, feeling your head, your eyes, your throat, your tongue, your neck, and just moving all the way down the body and then moving back up. No agenda, no trying, efforting of anything. You're just feeling the sensations in the body, and that's going to like sort of start to unlock the sensations because it's like you're shining a flashlight on all the parts of the body. When you do that, you're shining your awareness there, and your awareness is light, and that's going to bring up that density for you to feel. And then you feel it with no attachment, no story, and then you move on to the next sensation. And you're just in this way, when you're constantly moving up and down the body, feeling things like as a scan, it slowly dissolves over time. This is an easy way to dissolve something without like having to go back and revisit the experience. And I mean, there's many forms of healing trauma, and that is one of them. But this is something you can do on your own that would be a gentle, slow release of what's being held there.
When I'm doing a scan, I'm looking, what do I ask? I mean, just it seems like I would have to be asking a question to do that, or
No, it's
am I
just about
saying how?
it's just about feeling. You're not doing anything else. You're just feeling what is coming up in your body without attaching any story to it, any agenda to it, just allowing it to come up, keep breathing and keep going down, keep scanning, and then slowly keep coming back up and just feeling what's there, just being aware of what's there feeling wise,
Yeah,
not
sensation.
story.
Yeah, you're scanning for sensations, right? So instead, like you can take the feeling word out and just say sensations, and that makes the mind a little bit more understanding. Because when we ask questions, we're bringing in the mind, right? So we're just scanning the sensations of the body.
Try it,
Yeah,
Jay, try
express
it.
themselves. They'll express themselves, and by scanning, you're not allowing it to, really like explode and be like, go into a process, but you're slowly dissolving. It's a very gentle and powerful way to dissolve what's in the nervous system.
Just by observing it?
By feeling and observing and no story. It's just a sensation. That's all it is a sensation. I don't have to ask anything. I felt that sensation. Now I'm going to move on to the next one. And then I may feel it again when I come back on the scan. And then I may feel it every time I scan up and down. And that's fine. It'll dissolve when it's ready to dissolve.
So I
There's
just
no
observe it and let
forcing.
it go.
Exactly.
Observe it and move on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Try it and see how that goes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way. Obviously, there's
It's one
many
way.
other ways, but that's one way that you can start doing yourself.
Yeah. It's an easy thing to do on your own, and you can do it anywhere. You could be sitting in the car, I wouldn't do it when you're driving, but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Jay. So play with that. Just do a few minutes every day and just see how that starts to be different for you. Okay, I'm assuming he's hearing still. Okay, so I'm assuming he's still, I don't know, maybe he's having technical issues, but so yeah, it's all recorded, so it's all on the recording. And if anybody else wants to play with that, try that for yourself. Obviously, just be gentle with yourself. Okay, just be gentle. So I will have the recordings out in a little while. Please do go back and watch and listen, and of course, check out the special offers. Take advantage of these amazing values to work with Avalina. February 12th is when the 3-week series starts. And then package B is the 3-week series plus the 45-minute personal session with Avalina. So please do take advantage of those. There are payment plans available, of course. And if you're an Inner Circle member, please use your gift code as well. Okay. So this was a great way to start off the season. I'm so excited. I'm so happy for everyone that is here live and who's going to watch or listen later. So thank you. And thank you, Avalina. This was, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved the conversation. I love the process. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And I will see you February 12th.
Yes, I'm so glad you're joining.
Absolutely. It's like, yep, I'm definitely joining because, you know, I definitely need help with breathing exercises. I've said that all my life and I'm still saying that, but I definitely need help with breathing exercises and being consistent. You know, Tanya was talking about how it's hard for her to stay consistent. She loses focus, etc. I sometimes do the same, right? So it helps to be in a group, in that type of container where you're being held as well, and you're doing something together so that you will do it, right? And then, you know, and then of course the 45-minute personal session for those of you who choose to do that and work with Avalina is going to be powerful as well. So looking forward to it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you everybody for all your comments and questions and feedback in the chat. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I'm so glad you were here. So until next time, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 3 p.m. Eastern with Catherine O'Connor. Okay, so until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings. Bye for now.